This time on the Gadget Show WebTV, John's having a rough and tumble with the new shockproof Land Rover phone. I bring you up to speed on all the latest gadget-related news, and Otis gets funny with the online comic site Strip Generator. Hello and welcome to this week's WebTV. Now, some mobile phones are a thing of beauty, a real work of art, and some mobile phones are rugged and tough. Well, this Land Rover branded mobile phone from Sonim claims to be the toughest and most rugged on the market. Let's see, shall we? Over to you, John.
Sonim's XP3 Enduro did very well when we tested it on our Wild Challenge earlier this year. It withstood being dunked in a muddy assault course with Jason, soaked with a higher pressure fireman's hose, and repeatedly thrown at a target to test its impact resistance. The only thing Jason could criticise it for was a rather tin sound quality on calls, which would make it slightly difficult to hear my instructions to him on his blindfolded orienteering task. You could also criticise it for a lack of features. Aside from its ruggedness, it is rather a basic phone. But now it's joined by this new model, the Sonim XP3 Quest, also available with very roughly-tufty by association Land Rover branding as the Sonim Land Rover S1. It does now have more features, including a camera, albeit a fairly basic one with just 2 megapixels, no autofocus and no ability to shoot video, but it does take decently coloured stills, and it uses the camera's bright LED torch as a flash. You also get a basic music player, an FM radio, an email application, a web browser of sorts, and GPS, which comes with a mapping application that also includes turn-by-turn directions. This worked rather well, and I particularly liked the American voice that calls roundabouts circles. Very funny. The phone isn't 3G, in fact it's rather slow in general, and the voice quality is still a bit tinny. It must be something to do with the waterproofing process. You can also complain about the rather small size of the screen and the fact that it's really rather difficult to see in bright light. But on the positive side, the actual menu system itself is very clear. It's rather reminiscent of an ancient Nokia's, and everywhere you look, the phone exudes toughness. These great chunky buttons around the outside, they're big enough to operate with your gloves on, and the keys on the numeric keypad, they've apparently been tested for 500,000 presses. They're that tough. The huge 1850 milliamp hour battery lives under this screw-down cover along with your SIM card. It seems to keep going for days on end. The most vulnerable bit of the phone is probably this flap underneath, which comes open quite easily and protects the USB and headset sockets. But in most respects, this new phone is even tougher than the last one we tested. You can now drop it onto concrete from 2 meters instead of 1.65. And it's still working. And it can now survive a total immersion in water at a depth of up to 1 meter for half an hour, which we've tested as well. Hello? Hello? Hello, hello, hello. Seems to be working. At the launch, Saranov Fines, no less, was recruited to demonstrate the phone's toughness. Attached it to various Land Rovers and dunked it in mud and tied it to their wheels, and all sorts of punishments around their rigorous off-road course. One thing Saranov didn't demonstrate, though, was its ability to survive temperatures of minus 20 degrees centigrade. I've left this one, though, in the freezer overnight. And it survived that as well. Even if it hadn't, it comes with a 3-year unconditional warranty. So, if you're after the world's toughest phone, you know where to go.
Wikipedia have announced that they're launching the first official application for the iPhone and iPod Touch. The user-edited online encyclopedia has over 3 million articles in English out of a total 13 million articles, and it's the most popular reference resource on the internet. This isn't the first Wikipedia application though, as there are currently unofficial versions available to download, and you can access the site through the iPhone's web browser, but the page formatting isn't so good. The app will be free to download and to use in accordance with the ethos of the Wikimedia Foundation, which is the non-profit organisation that supports Wikipedia. Now, there has been some criticism of the application's basic, pared-down nature, especially when compared to some of the unofficial versions available, but Wikimedia will be adding features in response to feedback from users. 3D TV is on its way because Channel 4 in the UK have announced that they will be showing a week of 3D programmes later in the year. It will include specially upgraded archive footage of the Queen's coronation in a programme called The Queen in 3D, as well as made-for-3D programmes like Derren Brown's 3D Magic Spectacular. The shows will be broadcast in colour code 3D, which is a means of encoding 3D information into broadcast images. You won't need any special equipment to watch the programmes, unlike Sky's 3D TV service, in which you will require a 3D-ready TV. All you will need are a pair of colour code viewers, which is essentially a variant on those traditional 3D specs. For anyone watching the show without their glasses, they will notice an increase in contrast ratio, as well as the background objects having a faint blue glow around them. And of course the image will be in 2 dimensions. Now, there's been no exact date mentioned on when this will happen in the autumn, but it will give us a taster of things to come in terms of 3D movies and programmes. And of course, not forgetting those silly little glasses. Do you have a favourite webcomic? Well, there are hundreds of them out there at the moment, including Questionable Content and Dr. McNinja. And if you've ever thought about making your own, but like me, cannot draw to save your life, then Otis might be able to help.
If, like me, you enjoy reading the comic strips in newspapers, or funnies as they're called across the water, then this might work for you. It's called Strip Generator. You can find it at stripgenerator.com, and it's essentially a comic strip creator using a simple click and drag interface. There are lots of different options that you can use to get your creative juices flowing. You've got humans, you can choose between loads of different images there, beings, objects, shapes, and bubbles, the all-important text bubbles, of course, so that you can decide what's going to be said through words. If indeed you want to use that, you don't even have to log in. You can create and publish your work for other people to view, laugh at, critique. You don't even have to create your own strip. You could, of course, just go to the website and look at other people's work. You could laugh, you could cry, or choose to critique theirs in a thoroughly evil way. Look what I've created here. Okay, so we have a creature here. And he's in a situation, looking down. The situation is the same, but it's what he says that makes this such a winner, you see? So here we go. So forward. Next one. What shall I know. Masterpiece. I'm going to publish that. What's great about it is it's free, and within your palettes there are huge selections, so you can come up with a myriad of different situations, stories, without having to use the same characters. If I did have a criticism, it would be you're limited to 3 panels. Most of my favourite comic strips are anything from 5 to 10, but otherwise it's great.
Well, that's a lot for this week's WebTV, but we'll be back next week with more news and reviews. On the next episode of The Gadget Show, the gang are attempting to fly, so make sure you don't miss that one. Monday night, 8 o'clock on 5. Keep up to date with all the latest gadget development by following us on Twitter and by joining our official Facebook fan page. And keep an eye on our website for exclusive content. See you next time.